If you ask me, or if you ask perhaps a lot of people like me out there, traveling does not simply mean go, eat, visit the regular tourist sites and come back home. It means getting out there without any bookings, finding the closest hostel, hiking to the closest peak, diving in the deep seas and what not. Now, with greater travel plans comes greater travel insurance. And while it may feel very carefree and irresponsible to not get a travel insurance, especially when you are taking on board higher risks, it's absolutely silly to do so, if I could call it that. And sometimes I as well have been guilty of traveling without the travel insurance that comes in directly when I purchase an airline ticket. So, to talk about these new age insurance policies that come about with new age travel, we have with us Saurabh Chatterjee. He's the president and head of IT, web sales and travel with Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. So, Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us on the Money Show. Am I right, Saurabh, when I say this, that more and more Indians are going out to travel and they're not simply going to Paris, visiting the Eiffel Tower and coming back home, but instead they are hopping over perhaps to Spain, going 15,000 feet, jumping off from there, skydiving, deep sea diving, etc. Am I right in the sort of trend that we've been seeing in Indians take when it comes to travel?
Yes, you're right. In fact, what we have been seeing is a lot of Indians these days are traveling, and when they're traveling for experiences. Therefore, the previous travel, while the business travel continues, I think a lot of Indians these days are going outside and even within India for experience. And that experience travel is increasing. So people are going for adventure sports, people are going for destination travels, beyond destination weddings and all. But a lot of trend is seen in that direction.
Got the word right. It's experiential travel, right? You don't want to simply just go there and come back in a matter of your 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, etc. So, Saurabh, then how does insurance play its role? I mean, up until now, you had travel insurance that would perhaps, compensate you for maybe loss of luggage, maybe a flight delay, here and there, or of course, in extreme cases, a loss of life as well. But when you have all these experiential travels come in, how exactly does travel insurance as well then evolve? And to what extent then does it have to be opted for as opposed to your traditional travel insurance?
So that's a very good question. If you see traditional travel insurance is a bundled product, which means it starts with a medical emergency, and then on top of that, you have all these additional covers, which could be cancellation, which could be baggage loss, which could be a bunch of other things. And therefore, it's one combined or bundled product. With experiential travel, as you mentioned, what we are now seeing is travelers are taking specific covers for, say, adventure sports. And we have a cover like what we offer where the specifics of adventure sports, which means if anything happens while you have taken a vacation and that adventure, whether it's bungee jumping, whether it's, you are trekking, or whether you are out there in the Alps, skiing, if something happens, then medical evacuation is definitely covered, but we take care of your health right from that point of accident to taking care of you in the hospital. And this is how the travel insurance is evolving.
Okay, so what sort of, I mean, if you could just sort of summarize from Bajaj Allianz's table, what sort of add-ons or top-ups, if you could call it that, on the regular insurance policy does Bajaj Allianz offer?
So if from Bajaj Allianz, we have two specific products. One specific product we are looking at right from the point of travel. What all can go wrong with you? So, right, if you're taking a flight or if you're taking a mode of transport, we cover you with that mode of transport. If something happens at the point of disembarkation where you get down, if you have your baggage loss, then we have a baggage loss cover associated with it. If there is a trip cancellation or a delay, we have that covered. Then it comes to the actual point of travel. What did you go for? That experience. So we have covers which, as I mentioned, the medical evacuation related to it, the medical emergency related to it, or if there are anything that happens with the actual point where you travel to, we take care of that. There is another part. If you see, many travelers are going for. We have a product called Bharat Brahman that actually takes care of if you are on a pilgrimage within India. For example, an Amarnath Yatra or a couple of other things that you're doing, or you're going to a temple visiting and something happens as part of that, then we cover you for that. So while we have an international product which takes care of all these covers, we also have things on domestic travel where we call it Bharat Brahman as a product which covers you for all the mishaps along the way that can potentially happen so that you can go worry free.
Okay. Talking about costs, Saurabh, you mentioned certain add-ons like adventure, pilgrimage as well. How does it differ compared to a regular travel insurance?
If you see the regular travel insurance, you can buy for a few hundred rupees, maybe around 300, 500 rupees. And if you keep on adding or do more add-ons to this, the price can go even more. If you see the Bharat Brahman product that I mentioned, at the cost of 100 rupees or less than around that number for each day, you can cover yourself for the entire trip. And that not only covers for what I mentioned as the base cover of travel, but also there are all these add-ons which are built into it. Similarly, if I look at international travel, depending on the traveler has to take care of what is your sum insured, which means at any point if something happens, what is the maximum coverage that can be covered. If you look at that, the price of that is again ranges between say 700, 800 rupees to around 1000, 1200 rupees, depending on the kind of sum insured that you have chosen.
Okay. Now, to what extent, Saurabh, is all of this on, digitally done? What I want to understand is that, the fact that millennials usually want to use everything via apps, etc. To what extent Bajaj Allianz products as well are, available seamlessly via apps, via digital modes?
That's a very good question. In fact, everything is available seamlessly on the app. So if you have the app and if you are traveling before the start of the travel, right, either at the airport or at the bus station or at train station, you can just opt in for the different either covers or for the travel policy and just pay for it. You can pay it through any means that you have, credit card, debit card, online, wallets. There's so many options these days. And right from there, the coverage starts. And even we have gone beyond that because we realize that there are very important aspect of a travel is also if something happens, how do we take care of you? So again, the app comes in handy because it has the number. We have a facility which is a 24/7 facility where you can give a missed call, in which case, doesn't matter which part of the world you are, we call you back. So we call the customer back, we figure out what's wrong, and with our network across the world, we help them or take care of them through that. So everything is digitally enabled, whether on a browser, whether on an app, you can do it seamlessly.
Okay, well, I would have liked to squeeze in one quick question on flexibility, but unfortunately we're out of time, so I'll have to wrap it up. Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us on The Money Show, introducing us to this new age travel insurance platform. So folks, if you're planning a trip and you don't know where you're going to go, you don't know if you're going to go mountaineering on one side, canyoneering on the other, then just ensure that you take one of these top-up plans or these add-ons like Bajaj Allianz has recommended.